Hello everyone, my name is Jemima Djah. I work with SNV Netherlands organization in Ghana on the HortiFresh project as agronomist advisor. The HortiFresh project is funded by the Embassy of the Kingdom of Netherlands in Ghana, and we operate in Ghana and parts of Ivory Coast in the fruit and vegetable value chains. The HortiFresh project operates through instruments such as grants, financial products, individual company support, business advisory services, capacity development through agronomy training, cluster development projects in our selected crops such as the mango, onion, tomato, and the peri-urban vegetable production. This research contributes to the promotion of food and nutrition security by promoting increased consumption of indigenous vegetables to offer food diversification. The research was commissioned by HortiFresh, but led by a team of researchers from the University for Development Studies in Ghana, in close collaboration with a team from the Wageningen University and Research in the Netherlands. The topic is Traditional Vegetables in Ghana, Distribution and Consumption Patterns. I will be presenting on behalf of the team. Shall we begin? I will start this presentation with a brief introduction, follow with the methods that were used to collect the data. I'll share some results, and finally some conclusions and recommendations. Let me start by saying that there is a large diversity of indigenous vegetables consumed across Ghana. Although previous studies confirmed the importance of indigenous vegetables in Ghanaian communities, there is no study reporting the accessibility of indigenous vegetables and their consumption patterns across all the regions of Ghana. This study, therefore, assessed the preferred types of indigenous vegetables, the preparation practices, frequency of consumption, and the perceived benefits ascribed to them by respondents in Ghana. On this slide, you can see a picture showing a cross-section of some of the indigenous vegetables that are consumed in Ghana, which also came up in this study. This research was conducted online by using Google Forms and followed up with household and community level surveys. There were respondents from all the 16 regions across Ghana. And on your right, you can see the map of Ghana showing all the 16 regions. For the community level survey, a multi-stage cluster sampling technique was used where each region was considered as a cluster. For each cluster, a district was randomly selected from a group of 4 divisions made on their respective regional maps. Survey questions concentrated on type of indigenous vegetables consumed and the consumption frequency. Please note that the total number of respondents in these surveys was 1,393 people. Now let me share some results that came up from this study. One of them that we found interesting was the range of IVs consumed in Ghana. On the right side, you can see a table showing about 18 different indigenous vegetables that came up from the respondents of this survey. These included, randomly, let me mention, amaranth, okra, garden egg, water leaf, African spider plants, moringa leaves, and etc. However, we realized also that okra, garden egg, cocoyam leaf, and jute mallow were most widely consumed across all the 16 regions of Ghana. Another result that came up and was interesting was the utilization preferences of the listed indigenous vegetables. More than half, which is 57% of the respondents, used the listed indigenous vegetables in the preparation of stew and soup, while 27% of respondents indicated they used them for soups only, as you can see in the graph on your right. This is expected because most Ghanaian staples are eaten with stew and/or soup as an accompaniment. The consumption frequency of indigenous vegetables is another result that we found interesting. Here, more than a third of the respondents indicated that they consumed indigenous vegetables either daily or more than once a week. Also, about 13% of the respondents said they consumed the indigenous vegetables once a week, almost twice the number of respondents who consumed them occasionally. About 1% of the respondents said they hardly consumed indigenous vegetables. And here, please do note that This study only focused on indigenous vegetables. This also means that these respondents, these 1% of respondents, could be consuming other vegetables such as carrots, cucumbers, cabbages, broccoli, cauliflower, etc., which were not considered in this study. On your screen, you can see a table that shows some of the perceived benefits that respondents ascribed to the consumption of indigenous vegetables. Almost all the perceived benefits attributed to the indigenous vegetables were related to improved nutrition and health. Consumption of indigenous vegetables was reported by the respondents to, let me quote, give blood, give energy or strength, and to aid in digestion, as you can see in the table, most of which are related to health and nutrition benefits. Indigenous vegetables also provide families with alternative sources of nutrition that are cheaper and easily accessible. Another result that we found interesting was the perceived barriers to consumption of indigenous vegetables. And here, what we wanted to find out was what issues were stopping people from consuming these indigenous vegetables. And as you can see on your screen, some of the issues have been listed in order of most to least common. Seasonality and non-existence was one of the issues. And here, people simply could not consume some of these vegetables because they were not available at certain times of the year. Taste and color were also issues that stopped people from consuming them. Also, taboos and certain beliefs, which we termed as social-cultural, were some of the issues. Knowledge on how to prepare them, and also lack of access, and sometimes allergies were issues that were mentioned. Another result we found interesting was the consumption frequency based on age. And here, we define the age categories as follows: juvenile from 15 to 19 years, youth from 20 to 39 years, adults from 40 to 59 years, and elderly as above 60 years. We realize that as one advances in age, the more likely one is to consume indigenous vegetables. Also, almost 46% of the respondents in the elderly category, which is above 60 years, indicated that they consumed indigenous vegetables daily. About 43% of adults consumed indigenous vegetables more than once a week. Also, we tried to look at the frequency of consumption based on gender. And as you can see, the two graphs on your screen, no large differences in consumption frequency nor preference was observed between male and female respondents. Let me also mention a few of our concluding remarks. That indigenous vegetables contribute considerably to daily vegetable intake of Ghanaians, hence are important for nutrition security. Also, the priority of indigenous vegetables consumed by respondents are cocoyam leaf, garden egg, okra, loofah, turkey berry, jute mallow, baobab, roselle, cowpea leaf, sweet potato leaf, etc. These indigenous vegetables are wet cooked and used in stew and or soup. Only a few of the respondents said they hardly consumed indigenous vegetables. And this I clarified earlier to say that they could be consuming other vegetables which we did not consider in this research. Also, lack of money to purchase or unavailability or poor taste, cultural reasons were some of the reasons given for non-consumption of indigenous vegetables. The consumption of the priority indigenous vegetables is not restricted to a life stage group. However, the elderly were more inclined to consume the indigenous vegetables daily compared with the youth. Generally, the perceived benefits of indigenous vegetable consumption were mostly nutritional and health related. Let me proceed to give some of our recommendations to this study. Since this study could not access the portion or quantity of vegetables consumed at each serving, it would be a good step to take this up in order to be able to make deductions on adequacy of quantities consumed. There is also a potential for promoting the consumption, product development for value addition, and commercialization of the listed indigenous vegetables. And here at HortiFresh, we have already taken the initiative to develop a catalogue for the selected indigenous vegetables that were featured in this study. We believe that this is a good first step at product development and promotion of some of these indigenous vegetables among Ghanaians. Here is a small teaser of some indigenous vegetables that have been prepared into stew. On your left, you can see the cocoyam leaf prepared into stew, and on your right, you can see the cocorus olitoris, which is prepared into soup. And usually, both are eaten with staples which are starch-based. Thank you very much for your attention.